She had his journal in her purse. That was the moment everything stopped. My son stood there, pale and shaken, telling me it was gone. His therapy journal, the place he poured out thoughts he could barely say out loud, vanished from his room in the middle of an unannounced visit from my fiance's mother. And when I confronted her, she looked me in the eyes and told me she'd just been in the bathroom. But there she was, purse clutched close, walking down the stairs she had no reason to be on. I demanded to see inside. She refused. My fiance tried to intervene, told me to stop, but I didn't. I opened that purse, and there it was, my son's private words. She didn't deny it. Instead, she said it was her only chance to get to know him better, that she cared about him. And I lost it. To understand why, you have to know where we started. I'm a 39-year-old widower. I lost my wife 6 years ago, when our son Daniel was just 10. He's 16 now, a quiet, polite, deeply private kid. The kind of boy people mistake for shy when really he's thoughtful, careful about who he lets in, still adjusting to the idea of a new family dynamic, still finding his footing in therapy. For 2 years, I've been with my fiancée, and for 2 years, I've tried to navigate her mother, a controlling, self-centered woman who always has to have the upper hand. From the very start, she decided Daniel's personality was a problem she could diagnose and fix. She's called him antisocial, suggested he's autistic, and thrown around other armchair labels like she's reading off a shopping list. She's tried to open him up at family dinners, forcing him to answer invasive personal questions in front of everyone. She's even tested his personality like he's some science project. And every time, I've watched my son shrink into himself just to get through it. Eventually, I told him he didn't have to be around her anymore, not in the same room, not in the same house, if that's what he wanted. His relief was immediate. But she didn't take the hint. She complained constantly to my fiancé, claiming I was spoiling him, that he'd be too much for her daughter to handle. And when I told her to stop, she hit me with that saccharine sing-song line, "I'm just doing this for Danny." That day, when she showed up unannounced, I didn't think much of it at first. Daniel was polite, said hello, then excused himself to the bathroom. She went to the living room with my fiancé. I went to my bedroom. And then he came to me, eyes wide, voice low. "Dad, my journal's gone." We searched his room. Nothing. I asked my fiancé. She said she hadn't seen it. I stopped, thought about it, asked where her mother was. My fiancé said, "In the living room." But she wasn't. She was coming down the stairs, purse in hand, saying she'd been in the bathroom. I knew. I confronted her. She acted offended, called for my fiancé to come in, as though I was the one in the wrong. I insisted on seeing inside her purse. She tried to leave. I stood in the doorway. When I found it, she didn't apologize. She justified it, told me she needed to understand him better. I told her, in no uncertain terms, that she was banned from my house. She had crossed a line you don't come back from. She argued. My fiancé tried to smooth it over, but I was done. Later, my fiancé told me banning her mother was over the top, that I'd caused drama. And then the backlash began. Her father called me abusive, said he hoped his daughter would come to her senses and call off the wedding. Her family lined up behind them. No apology for what she'd done. No acknowledgement that taking a teenager's therapy journal was wrong. Just pressure. Reconcile with her, lift the ban, or the whole family would boycott our wedding. I told my fiance I wouldn't back down. This is my son's home, his safe place, and no one gets to violate that. Not for their own curiosity, not for some warped idea of caring. She says I'm selfish, that I'm ruining relationships with her family, that if I really loved her, I'd make peace. But here's the truth. My son lost his mother at 10 years old. He's been through grief most adults can't comprehend. His privacy isn't just about space, it's about survival. That journal is part of his therapy, part of the fragile scaffolding that helps him process a world that's already taken so much. When she took it, she didn't just snoop, she stole a lifeline. So, am I the asshole? Because right now, I'm looking at my son, the kid I've promised to protect, and wondering how I could possibly let her back in this house. As the host of AITA Story Vault, here's my reflection. This isn't just a story about boundaries. It's about who we choose to stand with when the people we love collide with the people who raised them. It's easy to say family is complicated until the complication is someone violating your child's trust. Then it's simple. You either protect that child or you don't. What strikes me here is the moment of clarity when the narrator saw that journal in her purse. That's not a misunderstanding. That's not a generational quirk. That's a deliberate act. And the choice to protect Daniel, even at the cost of an engagement, is a choice some people would call selfish, but others would call love in its purest form. So, here's the question I want to leave you with. When the stakes are someone's safety, privacy, and dignity, do you compromise for the sake of peace? Or do you hold the line and risk losing everything else? Because in the end, the people who know they can trust you will never forget that you stood up for them. And the people who wanted you to fold, they were never standing with you in the first place. What would you have done?